We've been talking about climate finance. In COP27, the big update was also forming the loss and damage fund, Dr. Mathur. Can we actually interchange the two terms, or do you think loss and damage would require a different amount of financing? And do you think there should be an update and a bigger amount required here?
So loss and damage requires additional finance. It is not really completely fungible as far as the resources are required, because as far as renewables are concerned, we are now in the situation where private sector monies flow in. The loss and damage fund, initially at least, will continue to be a government invested fund. So various governments across the world will need to fund that things. And the developed countries will have to take the lead. I mean, after all, they are the reason why we are in this stage where we need a loss and damage fund. We are therefore looking very, very carefully at COP28 and hoping that the loss and damage fund becomes funded in the years to come.
That continues to be the debate, I would say. The finances around here, yes, we need to fight climate change, but who would fund it has been the biggest question all the time as well. So this 1.5 degrees target, is this achievable? What is the consensus saying? Because there have been a lot of questions there as well.
I'm speaking as myself. I am very, very cautious, very doubtful actually, whether we'll meet the 1.5 degree target. I think we have lost it. The world has not focused. The developed country reductions that we expected are not occurring. The focus on coal, the focus on gas, particularly after the Ukraine gas crisis, has meant that we have seen an upsurge in the CO2 emissions. This is dangerous. What it essentially implies is that we will not be able to meet the 1.5 degree goal.
Okay, all right. So that's not something nice to know as well, because that's been the focus, but still somehow, despite all the efforts that have been taken globally, you say that it might not be possible. So in that case, what are your plans at ISA, Dr. Mathur? What are the new updates or the new steps that you're taking? Any collaborations or partnerships that you would like to tell us about?
Well, there are three kinds of partnerships that I want to focus on. The first is we need monies to flow into, as I said, places where it's not flowing, particularly Africa. We have therefore created a global solar facility, which provides guarantees to help private sector money move into small projects in Africa, the projects you and I would like to see on top of our houses, solar mini grids, and so on. The second is we would like to see across the world movement on solarizing of the health facilities. We have plans. We have done it in 5 countries. We look forward to more and more countries adopting this as we go ahead. And the third goal is that we enable the large solar farms to become the source of electricity and the source of cost-effective electricity across the world. This is something that India has done extremely well, and we hope that the learnings from India could be taken to the world as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Take your point there. India has been spearheading the solar movement or the renewable movement as well. Some regulatory aspects that you can apprise us of which need some change, or the current policies, according to you, are enough to reach the targets that we have here?
Well, as far as India is concerned, we need to ensure or need to accelerate the process in which the monies that are spent in building projects, the bank loans, can be very quickly turned around and changed with monies on bonds. So once you have operating assets, bonds can meet that money. This has started happening, but we need a platform to create bonds across the market so that your pension funds and my pension funds, Indian pension funds, can be used in this bond market. Now, what this would do is accelerate the velocity of money and therefore enable us to do more renewables, because 100 megawatts of coal costs 900 crore rupees. But equivalent amount of electricity being generated by renewables and storage would need today something of the order of 1,900 crore rupees. That's only possible if the velocity of money increases. Therefore, cost-effective and time-effective ways of moving this money becomes important. Globally, I would like us to see how we can create the kinds of platforms which enable this kind of change to help bring in more and more solar and wind, renewable energy and storage into the market.
Okay, all right. So last question before I let you go, Dr. Mathur. Technology transfer, that is also something that has been in discussion apart from climate finance. Has that picked up, or there are still some contentions around that?
Well, it is a contentious issue because this is an area in which technology is always developing. And therefore, you need tomorrow's technologies today. The good thing is that developing country companies, for example, in India, we have seen that companies are now purchasing startups which have gone into business manufacturing, for example, batteries which are a replacement for lithium-ion batteries, sodium-ion batteries, for example. We are also seeing that technology transfer is being met by outright purchases of technology from the developed world. But in general, in order to make this, I think we need pools of patents so that the technologies become available. They are obviously paid for, but they become available easily. So I think the focus on technology transfer in the climate negotiations has to continue.
Okay, take your point completely, Dr. Mathur. Thank you so much for joining us with those valuable insights and telling us what's expected from this big event, and most importantly, whether we are going to achieve those targets or not. That continues to be the big debate. So thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Sonal. It is a pleasure to be with you and with all the viewers.
Okay, all right. With that, we'll take your leave on this edition of Climate Clock, but stay tuned for all the updates and all the coverage on COP28 as well.